prohibited weapon, resisting arrest, all times 2.
He died face to face with his killer, who we think knew him and where to find him.
The one possibility is that the killer was still with her.
Most detective shows want you to believe that solving crimes requires youth and energy and maybe a six-pack. New Tricks went the opposite direction. The entire premise is that the Metropolitan Police set up a unit to investigate unsolved cases, and they staffed it entirely with retired detectives. These are old guys. They have bad knees and outdated references, and they don't understand computers. And that's the point. The show leans into their age as both a problem and an advantage. They're slower, sure, but they've also got decades of experience that younger officers don't have. They remember cases from 30 years ago. New Tricks ran for 12 seasons, making it one of the longest-running British series ever. Turns out there's something satisfying about watching a bunch of retirees outsmart everyone. The thing about most detective partnerships on TV is that they're built around contrast. One's messy, one's neat, one's a hothead, one's calm. Scott and Bailey does that too. Janet Scott is the steady, experienced one with a family at home. Rachel Bailey is the impulsive one whose personal life is constantly on fire. But the show actually lets you live with both of them long enough to understand why they work together. They're detectives in Manchester's major incident team, which means they're handling murders and serious crimes. They brought in a real detective named Diane Taylor to consult on the scripts, and you can feel it. The procedural stuff doesn't feel like TV magic where someone enhances a blurry photo and solves the case. It feels like actual police work. This one picks up where Life on Mars left off, but with a completely different character and a different decade. A London police officer named Alex Drake gets shot in 2008 and wakes up in 1981. She has no idea how or why, but she knows this has happened before. She's actually researched a similar case, which was the whole premise of Life on Mars. So when she starts running into people she's only read about in files, she realizes she's living through something she thought was just a bizarre footnote in police history. The hook is watching a modern officer try to function in 1981. The policing is different, the attitudes are different, the technology is obviously different. Alex keeps clashing with officers who do things in ways that would get them fired in 2008, and she has to figure out whether she's supposed to change the past or just survive it long enough to get back to her own time. The show ran for 3 seasons and actually managed to wrap up the mythology that Life on Mars had started, which is rare for a spin-off. Most detective shows make you wait to find out who the killer is. That's the whole point, right? You follow the investigation, you gather clues, and somewhere in the finale, they reveal who did it. The Fall throws that out completely. You know who the murderer is from the first episode. His name is Paul Spector. He's played by Jamie Dornan, and you watch him target professional women in Belfast while Gillian Anderson's detective superintendent tries to catch him. It sounds like it shouldn't work. If you already know the answer, why keep watching? But that's exactly what makes the show interesting. Instead of a whodunit, you get this slow, suffocating tension of watching two people circle each other. You see how Spector thinks, how he picks his victims, how he lives this completely normal life while doing horrific things. Experts who study psychopathy have actually praised the show for how accurately it portrays the way these people operate. This one has maybe the strangest premise I've seen in a detective show. David Mitchell plays a guy named John Taylor who makes puzzles for a living. He's a recluse, doesn't like going outside, doesn't like talking to people. And then his twin brother, who happens to be a detective chief inspector, goes missing. So John does the only logical thing. He impersonates his brother to investigate the disappearance, which means this puzzle maker, who has no police training whatsoever, is now solving cases for the Cambridge police force while pretending to be a decorated detective. The show leans into the absurdity of this. Mitchell brings his comedic timing to it, and the whole thing has this dry humor running through it. But here's the detail that got me. The production team hired an actual puzzle consultant. They take the cryptic puzzle stuff seriously. When John solves something using puzzle logic, it's not just made up. There's a real person making sure the puzzles work. It won several awards and people loved it. Turns out putting a comedian who's good at being anxious into a police procedural was a great idea. Blue Lights follows a group of rookie cops in Belfast getting trained by veterans who've seen it all. The show was created by Declan Lawn and Adam Patterson, both Belfast natives who wanted to set a police drama in their hometown. They made the whole thing on a shoestring budget. No flashy production, no big set pieces. Everything had to come from the writing and the acting, and that ended up being the show's strength. Critics loved the script for being smart without being complicated, and the characters feel like actual people instead of cop show archetypes. The rookies screw up the way rookies actually screw up. The veterans are tired in ways that feel earned. It's one of those shows where the budget limitation forced everyone to be better at the fundamentals. When you can't distract people with explosions, the dialogue has to work. Most detective shows give you a protagonist who's good at their job and easy to like. Inspector Morse gave you a guy who's brilliant at solving murders, but genuinely difficult to be around. He's irritable, moody, and would rather be listening to classical music or drinking a pint than dealing with people. The show is set in Oxford, and Morse works cases with his partner Sergeant Lewis, who somehow puts up with him. Each episode is a standalone mystery with the usual twists and red herrings, but the thing that kept people coming back was Morse himself. The guy's a mess. Can't hold a relationship together, gets in his own way constantly, but you end up rooting for him anyway. The show ran for 7 seasons and 5 specials, and by the end, people weren't tuning in for the murders. They just wanted to see what was going on with Morse. Brenda Blethyn plays Vera Stanhope, and the first thing you notice is that she doesn't look like a TV detective. She actually looks like she slept in her coat and doesn't care what you think about it. What she does care about is solving cases. The character comes from Anne Cleeve's novels, and what Cleeves understood is that you don't need your detective to be glamorous or charming or even particularly likable. You just need them to be good at what they do and interesting to watch. Vera is both. She's a detective chief inspector in Northumberland, tracking down criminals in a part of England that doesn't get a lot of screen time, and every case gives Blethyn a chance to do something slightly different with the character. It's the kind of show where you put it on and immediately feel like you're in good hands. Helen Mirren played Detective Chief Inspector Jane Tennyson, and the show is built around a simple question. What happens when a woman tries to do this job in a world where most of her colleagues want her to fail? Tennyson is tough, ambitious, and very good at what she does. None of that matters to the men around her who undermine her constantly. Each season covers a single case, and Tennyson's fighting sexism the whole way through, but it doesn't get preachy about it like most of the modern shows do. It won 3 Primetime Emmys and a bunch of BAFTAs, and it ended up inspiring the American series The Closer with Kira Sedgwick and J.K. Simmons. So if you've seen that show, this is where it came from. Steve Arnott was a counterterrorism officer. His team did something criminal and expected him to help cover it up. He said no, and instead of being rewarded for that, he got reassigned to anti-corruption. Now he investigates other cops. Martin Compston plays Arnott, Vicky McClure plays his partner Kate Fleming, and the two of them spend the series digging into corruption cases. And they're also trying to crack a larger conspiracy running through the whole force. The show became BBC Two's highest-rated program since 2002. It got the kind of cult following where people were trading theories online between seasons, trying to figure out who was dirty and who wasn't.